What is up, YouTube? I am Galdite74 here, bringing you our Week 6 battle of the PEBA. We have reached the halfway point of the season. Even though there's 11 weeks, I would consider this the halfway point. We take on young Bisharp, coach of the Lumiose Luxrays. We are going into this game with a 3-2 record with a +1 differential, while he is going into this game with a 3-2 record with a +2 differential. So we are both in the same division, and thus we are fighting for that second place spot, as he has it by 1 differential point right now. But hopefully this week we can take him down. Just like me, young Bisharp has been around since the inauguration of the PEBA. He was a part of Season 1, I think in the Orange Division, and then Season 2. So he is definitely a familiar face in the PEBA scene, despite the fact that he's not really on Discord anymore. But regardless, we are going to look up into this match, and lastly, best state gang. Anyway, we're going to go into this matchup. For this matchup, I think we have a decent matchup. It's pretty nice for us. I'm going to go over his team now. His team consists of Blaziken, Speed Boost, Zygarde with Z-Moves, Mega Manectric, Crobat, Bisharp with Z-Moves, Primarina, Serena, Frostlass, Xatu, Rhydon, and Hakamo with Z-Moves. Now, first thing I'm noticing, Primarina exists. That's a threat. What I expect him to bring consists of Blaziken, Mega Manectric, Bisharp, Primarina, Serena, and Frostlass. That's what I think he's going to bring. Again, I'm going to reiterate, Primarina is easily the biggest threat against my team because my switch-ins this week do not actually exist for that thing. So I have a lot to work with around with that. Luckily, his rockers aren't the greatest. They're only Rhydon and Bisharp, I think, and that's it. Rhydon doesn't really have a good matchup, and Bisharp, if he wants to bring rocks, that's fine, but that locks him into more of a supportive role, so that really helps me out. And in theory, that means Volcarona is going to be the important win con of the week, which, spoiler alert, it is going to be our important win con of the week. So I'm going to try and take advantage of that. Blaziken with Speed Boost is also a problem, but luckily I do have one of the best offensive responses in Greninja, so it won't get too out of hand, but I think it can claim a kill or two. Blaziken probably will, and if Greninja goes down for a reason, then I'm probably actually screwed. But that's Blaziken, and then finally, I don't see Zygarde coming because Tangrowth and Hippowdon wall that for days. So, one of his top tier. I just have good responses for Zygarde, so if it comes, it won't be a big problem like it usually is for most teams. Now, that's his team. I'm going to go into my team now. The team I'm going to bring this week consists of Tangrowth, Ash Greninja, Volcarona, Hippowdon, or Choreo Pom-Pom, the electric version, and Mega Diancie. So as I just mentioned, the first mon we are bringing this week is Tangrowth. The Tangrowth is rocking the Assault Vest with Seed Bomb, Earthquake, Hidden Power, Ice, and Brick Break, 248 HP, 52 defense with a relaxed nature, and 208 instant def. This is mainly here to wall the hell out of Zygarde and Serena, as well as pivot around with Primarina. I say pivot because if it's a Choice Specs Primarina, I can stay in on it if I switch into a Water or Grass move. If it uses Ice or Fairy, it's going to do a lot of damage, but I can switch out into Volk if it's Choice and get regen back. And if it uses a Psychic move, same thing, but with Greninja. I do have to be careful because it does a lot of damage still, and if it's Life Orb, then I'm kind of screwed, but we'll figure that out when we get there. But it's mainly here again for the Zygarde, Serena, it walls the Rhydon as well, and the Hakamo, even though Hakamo-O's got a terrible matchup. It can also wall the Bisharp pretty well, but I do have to be careful of a +2 Steelium Z Corkscrew Crash, because that actually OHKOs since I'm not fully physically defensive. So Bisharp could be a little bit of a problem for Tangrowth. And it can switch into Mega Manectric. I don't want to have Tangrowth switch into Mega Manectric, but if I have to, I can take a hit and use Earthquake and do a load of it back. So that is the main Tangrowth set. Next up, we got Ash Greninja. Ash Greninja is running the Mystic Water with Water Shuriken, Ice Beam, Gunk Shot, and Scald. 252 attack with Modest Nature, 160 speed, and 96 HP. I want the most damage as I possibly could. And I had Hidden Power Fighting on this thing until I realized that was illegal, and my idiot self should have known that because I've had problems with that in the past, but I had to replace it, and I decided to get rid of Hidden Power Fighting for Gunk Shot because Primarina exists and I couldn't really touch it. And Scald still does a decent amount of Bisharp, but Greninja is here mainly for the Blaziken. I need to chip down the Blaziken a bit in order for Water Shuriken to kill, unless I'm already Battle Bonded, then it just straight up OHKOs it. It destroys Zygarde that isn't boosted, it beats the Bisharp again, because unless it's like +2 and I'm really low for some reason. Beats the Rhydon if he wants to try and get up rocks, Hakamo and Xatu as well. So Greninja is here to revenge a lot of things on his team, and mainly here to clean things up once Volcarona goes down. So that is what the Greninja is here for. Next up, we have our win con of the week. We have Volcarona. Volcarona is running Grassium Z with Quiver Dance, Flamethrower, Psychic, and Giga Drain. 204 attack, 216 speed with a timid nature, and 88 in HP. I went back and forth between Giga Drain and Roost a lot because, yeah, I didn't think Rhydon would be such a problem because Hippowdon, Tangrowth, Greninja's coming, and all these threats against Rhydon, so I'm not really too worried about it. And for Primarina, since Primarina is such a threat, I would think it's going to come in a lot and take a lot of chip damage. So I would think at +1, a Psychic would basically knock it out at that point. The investment here is basically to live a Choice Specs Hydro Pump at +2 Spadef. So that's what that main thing is there for, and then Psychic at that point would just nuke it. But this is my win con because at +1, +1, +1, I kind of just run house through his team. I have a lot of setup options in his lower tiers, like I can set up on Xatu, set up on Frostlass, Mega Manectric. These are all if they don't have Thunder Wave because all 3 of them get Thunder Wave, so I have to be careful of that. And it sets up on Serena as well, so I have a lot of setup targets, and that's the main goal, just to get up to +1, +1, +1, because Blaziken can't protect. He would have to get like a double protect in order to beat it offensively, so that's what Volcarona is mainly here for. Next up, we have Hippowdon. Hippowdon is rocking max HP, max defense with the Impish Nature, and 4 in Spadef. Rocky Helmet, Sandstream with Earthquake, a Slack Off, Ice Fang, and Whirlwind. Another way to deal with Zygarde pretty effectively because it's not really touching me too well. This is mainly here to take the hits from Blaziken, my only really good switch into Blaziken, because Blaziken needs to be up to +2 in order to do any damage. He can't run Z moves on this thing, and he can't run Baton Pass, even though it has nothing to do with that. But Earthquake basically knocks it out, and if he's got like the Berry or whatever, then Greninja can just come in and Water Shuriken it. So its main priority is for the Blaziken, and it does do good against the Zygarde. It can also take hits against Manectric. If Manectric wants to run HP Rock instead of T-Wave or Roar to deal with Volcarona, I wall that thing for days, so that's a good thing to note. I wall the Crobat, even though I can't really hit it back. I have Ice Fang, and that'll force predicaments where he has the Roost, and I can Earthquake stuff up. Walls Bisharp pretty well, even though Tangrowth kind of does that, and the Rhydon as well. So that is our Hippowdon set. Next up, we have one of our more interesting mons of the week. We are bringing Oricorio, a Pom-Pom version. First time we're bringing Oricorio to the season. We are rocking max special attack, 152 speed with a Timid Nature, 104 in HP with the leftovers, moves being Revelation Dance, Air Slash, Defog, and Roost. I had a U-turn over Defog originally, but then I thought for the off chance he has rocks on Bisharp, I want to get rid of them. This is walled by Zygarde, Rhydon, and Mega Manectric, but again, I only see really Mega Manectric of those coming in, and I have really good answers to all 3 of those anyway, so I could just switch out and take the hit. So that's why. But Oricorio actually has a really good match offensively in this matchup. It does. I wanted the flying typing over the ice typing because flying typing for the Blaziken, and I can actually take hits from Serena. Rotom Frost kind of has a problem with that, so I thought Oricorio would be a little bit better for the job, so that's why I decided to bring that over the Rotom Frost. And I just thought it'd be fun to use. It's an Oricorio. I never really bought it. But again, it's mainly here just to spread offensive damage and defog if I really need to. And I can also take hits from, well, the Serena. I already mentioned it. So yeah, that's basically the Oricorio. That's basically there all is to it. And lastly, we have Mega Diancie. Mega Diancie is running max HP, 12 attack with a Modest Nature and 248 speed. The Diancie obviously with Stealth Rock, Heal Bell, Moonblast, and Diamond Storm. This is actually not really a win con this week. It's more of just it's actually supposed to switch into a few mons like Xatu and Frostlass and Crobat, mainly here to switch into those mons, as well as Blaziken, even though I don't really take a HJK or Earthquake pretty well, but I can at least take a hit. So that's why I have Diancie as more of a defensive build. I put rocks on this thing because I needed the 4 moves on Hippowdon, and I have Heal Bell for the off chance I can get a second chance for Volcarona if he paralyzes me or whatever. So that's what Diancie's here for. And just Moonblast and Diamond Storm was all I really needed. I didn't really need the Earth Power for Bisharp because Moonblast is doing just enough damage anyway. So there's that. And I didn't really need the Earth Power because I'm not really going to be staying in on Rhydon anyway. So that is our Mega Diancie, and that is the team we are bringing this week. Let me see if I got any more notes written down. I already went over most of them. I just need Primarina to be weakened a bit in order to sweep the Volcarona, even though I could do it with Giga Drain, but I prefer Primarina to be a little bit weaker. I just got to be careful of that. But that is the team. We're going to go over to Pokemon Showdown and watch the battle. Alright, we have arrived at Pokemon Showdown, and I am noticing that he did not bring the Primarina, so I am hugely relieved not to see that right off the bat. But he did bring the Rhydon, so getting rocks up is probably a thing for him. Luckily, Hippowdon walls like everything on his team, so I'm going to lead off with it. I usually like to lead offensively, but this week I didn't mind leading Hippowdon, because at least it lets me scout out what he's going to do. He goes to Crobat, so I'm going to switch on to Diancie since it's a pretty nice switch into it. He's going to go for the Taunt, which is actually kind of good for me because I was kind of inclined to go for Rocks this turn, assuming Crobat wins day in, but since I'm taunted, I am going to just go for the Diamond Storm because I don't really have anything else to do. He busts out the Steel Wing, which I was not ready for. Luckily with the max HP, I do live the hit, and I absolutely nuke him back with Diamond Storm. And Crobat goes down turn 2. Really got me off guard with that Steel Wing. But now he's going to bring in Zygarde, and I'm thinking he's got to go for E-Speed if he wants to like not take damage. But thanks to my bulk, again, I live this hit every time unless it's banded. So luckily, he did not expect that, and I am able to get a fat Moonblast off and almost knock it out. So that is really huge. Turn 3, his Crobat's down, and Zygarde is basically dead. I am going to sack off my Dynasty because I don't really need it at this point. It did its job. It did really good. Zygarde is at 20%. I am going to bring in Greninja now. Now, I could go for Water Shuriken to make sure I could go for Water Shuriken, but it wouldn't really matter because he's just going to go for E-Speed. And even if I did go for it, if I got 2 hits, there was a chance he actually could have lived if he had a lot of HP. So I'm just going to go for the safe Ice Beam as I do knock out the Zygarde, and I do get my Battle Bond. So now Blaziken doesn't even need to be chipped, as Water Shuriken will just take it out. I did have HP fighting on this thing, but I don't now, so I had to switch it out because it's illegal. He does go for Exocet, which is smart on him. Now, I really thought about this play for a while to go into Hippowdon because I did expect the Z move, as he does bust out the Z move. I decided to just sack off Tangrowth because Hippo is really important for taking hits late game, especially since everything's weak to ground, so I didn't want to switch into a Z move. So I'm going to go into Volcarona here and threaten him out. I could have set up a Quiver Dance, and if I did, I honestly would have won the game, but I didn't. So I fire off a Flamethrower, and now I am going to fire off my Bloom Doom, which will kill it. And Volcarona actually is finally going to pick up a kill after struggling the first half of the season. Volcarona finally picks up a kill, and it's against the Rhydon. But anyway, he sends up Manectric, and this is a chance for me to set up unless he's got T-Wave or HP Rock. And unfortunately, he is going to bust out the T-Wave, so my Volcarona sweep is not going to happen today. I do set up the Quiver Dance, so he can't really do much to me, but I'm paralyzed. He's just going to Volt Switch out, and he is going to go into the Blaziken. I do fire off a Flamethrower here to get some nice chip on that Blaziken, but unfortunately I get paralyzed. It doesn't really matter too much considering I did not click the Psychic. He's going to go off for a Blaze Kick and just annihilate me. But this does tell me he is Life Orb, and that is great news to know, as now it's really easy to deal with. He's not boosted. I can go into Greninja and just click Water Shuriken, as nothing really wants to take it. He is going to go for Protect and Scout out for the Shuriken, but it's not really going to matter. And if he wants to switch in anything, it basically just dies, or can't take 2. So he's going to switch into a Bisharp here, as I am going to fire off a Water Shuriken here again. And it's guaranteed to hit 3 times. It does a little over half, and that did kind of scare me because on my calc it's supposed to do like way more. So he definitely has a decent amount of bulk in him. So I decided just to go for a Scald because I know a Sucker Punch won't kill me. As Bisharp goes down, he has to go into Manectric, which is fine because I can just go into Oricorio. And if he just wants to like switch around and Volt Switch, that's fine because Oricorio does good against Blaziken anyway. As he is going to Volt Switch, it does a lot of damage to me, but that's fine because he's going to go into Blaziken. He has to Protect in order to outspeed me, as I'm just going to go for Air Slash because that does prevent him from setting up. He does not Protect, and Oricorio, the god, kills Blaziken. Absolutely nuts. And basically it's GG at this point because Hippowdon just needs a free switch in and click Earthquake. But that is absolutely nuts. Oricorio just knocked out Blaziken. And I do actually live this Volt Switch, which is awesome. I am going to get a Revelation Dance off. Not that it really matters, but Oricorio put in the work just by air slashing that Blaziken alone. I'm really happy with what it did. But he's going to go for HP Ice and knock me out. And I can just go into Hippowdon and Earthquake. And this game is basically over at this point. HP Ice, even with the crit, cannot knock me out, as it does less than half. And that will be the game. So a GG to Young Bisharp. That was a really quick game. Only 20 turns. Probably one of the shorter ones of the season. I did think it was pretty funny that he had a Vacuum Wave Blaziken with Speed Boost to counter my Greninja with Water Shuriken, which on paper is actually really, really smart, so I give him mad props for that, but unfortunately for him it is illegal to run that set, so he wasn't able to bring that to the game, as well as HP fighting on Greninja, so I didn't bring that to the game either. So there's that. One thing I would like to know is I think I did play pretty well with Greninja. I played really aggressively, and I think it worked out in the end. Just a little side note there. But that is it for the game. Again, GG to Young Bisharp. His Twitter will be in the description below, as I will plug that. We are going to move up to a 4-2 record and take the 2nd place in our conference. Next week, we take on 2-Bit Crow, the ex-commissioner of the PEBA. He's got a really fat team along with the Kyurem Black, so that ought to be fun, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. I did that backwards for whatever reason. That's all I got for you guys. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.